Hello, my name is Mirjam and I would like to tell you a story of my family. This is me. I have two brothers, Kristjan and Kaarel. These are my parents, Peep and Erika. But I would like to tell you more about my grandmother. She's the mother of my mother. Her name was Raisa Kaaret. She got married with Alexander Kaaret in 1941. Alexander had served as a full-time officer in the Estonian army until 1939. When Soviet Union occupied Estonia, all the soldiers were mobilized to the Red Army. This happened with Alexander as well. By the time Alexander and Raisa got married, Alexander had already witnessed the destruction that the Soviet power could do. So he decided to escape from the Red Army and joined the German army. Between two horrible options, he decided to go for the one that seemed more bearable. He became an officer in the German army. As the frontier moved back toward Germany, Alexander had a chance to go with them, but he didn't do so. He ran to the forest and hid himself there with many others. He became a forest brother. By that time, Alexander and Raisa had 3 children. Estonia had just been occupied by Soviet Union the second time in 1944. The fact that Alexander had joined the German army also turned Raisa into an outlaw and an enemy of the people. She lost her job and home. Most of the time she lived on the streets and in the forest with her kids. Because she didn't have any money or food, she went from one train station to another to look for food. She was interrogated several times every year by KGB. They wanted her to testify against Alexander. When she was pregnant with her 4th child, she went from house to house not to give birth on the street. It was prohibited to help a public enemy. When lending a hand to an outlaw, the helper could face punishment themselves. At last, Raisa found an old lady who was willing to help her. The lady smuggled her into her barn. Raisa gave birth in a barn, while being alone with her other 3 kids. She was also suffering from tuberculosis and a high fever. By a miracle, the fever went down and she got rid of tuberculosis. She got better, but still didn't have any money or place to stay. That is why she decided to give her newborn to her relatives. She also gave birth to their 5th child when Alexander was still on the run. After having their child, she was forced to put all her children into an orphanage. She didn't have any food for herself, not to mention feeding her children. Now she was alone and managed to find a job as a road worker. The job was not one for women. Raisa twisted her back and her health got worse. She had to quit. For a long time she didn't get a job. At last she found a job in an autopsy chamber. Raisa was happy to even have a job like that. She finally got to speak with somebody and didn't feel alone anymore, even though that somebody was dead. At the same time, Alexander was forced to come out of the forest. He was caught and sent to Siberia. In Siberia, he met Salme, with whom they started to live together. When Stalin died, the rules and restrictions in Soviet Union got a bit freer. Alexander came back to Estonia with Salme. They didn't have a place to stay, and Alexander contacted Raisa. By that time, Raisa had found a new love, Erik. They had 1 child, that was my mother. Raisa felt sorry for Alexander and took him and Salme into their 1-room apartment. The apartment was very small, but they all lived there for some time. Raisa with Erik and their child, and Alexander with Salme. Raisa and Alexander never got divorced. All the 6 children of Raisa have grown up as very independent people and have loving families. They are really close and are always there for each other. So, this is the story of my family. But do you know the story of your family?